That's right, guys. We got weekend actual box office numbers from the weekend of March 17th to March 19th, 2017. Now, honestly, I know this is kind of old news right now. I'm not going to be saying anything that you guys don't know, and I'll leave a link in the descriptions below about where you can go to look about, I guess, Beauty and the Beast, all the records that it broke and everything. If you don't know, I'm not necessarily going to be talking about that. Quite frankly, this is going to be a very short video. I just wanted to kind of share my thoughts. Now, like I said, I know that you probably have already known this. If you're remotely interested, maybe you're just kind of looking this up for the first time. But I just want everyone to know and kind of be very familiar with the fact that, what we see on Sunday or what we see throughout the weekend are basically, I guess, industry estimates, studio estimates, as it were, for how much they think is going to be one movie is going to make, or how much of anything else, one yada yada yada. And I don't necessarily like covering it or talking about this highly on Sunday. I might cover it, I might tweet about it, I might do something like that throughout the weekend on Sunday in particular. But at the same time, I do know that those are basically just estimates. They aren't actually final numbers. In order to get final numbers, you have to wait until mid-afternoon on Monday. Unfortunately, I don't get home until later on Monday, so I necessarily can't always do a video about that. And just quite frankly, we don't get a movie like Beauty and the Beast and the way that it performed every single week. So honestly, this isn't necessarily something to basically talk about, quite frankly. But, just so everyone knows, weekend actuals, frankly, Beauty and the Beast did better than Disney was actually estimating. And that's actually kind of weird sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes you have studios basically, kind of overestimating. I don't think they just do it on purpose, but at the same time, it's really nice to actually get kind of a confirmation, or at least kind of get the all the people covering the news and all the people who are excited about this stuff kind of covering it on Sunday, saying, oh yeah, this broke this record, or this made this much money. And to me, although I did kind of speculate 170 million, and for the estimates are right on that, they're not necessarily going to be exactly that. But at the same time, to me, that was a little bit too close to the record that was set by Batman vs. Superman last year, at 166 million, to actually give it kind of the necessary news, as it were. But we're getting numbers right now, 174,750,616 dollars, basically. Really, really big, huge opening. I think second only non-holiday opening to Captain America Civil War, but I could be wrong about that. One of the biggest openings of all time. I was reading maybe even potentially the 12th largest opening of adjusted for inflation films opening of all time. Definitely one of the biggest openings of all time. So very, very amazing thing. I'm not necessarily sure, and it's really hard to believe whenever we're going to see movies like this kind of pop up. I'm sure we have a couple more of them this year. Obviously, with Star Wars opening, we're definitely going to see that. Maybe even, we'll see how Guardians of the Galaxy does, honestly. I don't think any other thing I can't think of anything off the top of my head that actually did that well. Just kind of other news, it seems like the Belko experiment actually opened up with $4.1 million. If you haven't seen this movie already, don't. There's really no reason to. Look, I've kind of covered this. I do kind of talk about this stuff time to time on Twitter, if you follow me on Twitter. I did actually go see this movie. I haven't seen Beauty and the Beast yet, but I did go see this movie. I love these type of films. I love the films that kind of, take place in one little environment with either a small group or multiple, or a big group of people, multiple people, and kind of set up to the fact it's small claustrophobic environments set up to the people kind of giving into their basic instincts, sex, love, violence, and all this other stuff. So I do like those films. This one had no pacing, in my opinion. I did not like it. And I love these films. It's so easy for me to just go in and enjoy those films and everything. So if you haven't seen it, don't see it. If you do love those movies like I did, please make sure to go see it if you just want to have your own opinion and your own thoughts about it, because you might like it. I'm just giving you my opinion on here, not necessarily a review, not necessarily anything, just kind of giving my straight up honest review. I can't say anything about Beauty and the Beast, like I said, but I can say stuff about the other three films that actually got 2, 3, and 4 for the weekend. We have very, very strong holds from Kong Skull Island, Logan, and Get Out. And guys, let me just say, we've been having a spectacular couple of weeks. First of all, Get Out. Let's start at the bottom. Get Out has been overperforming. Jordan Peele, guy from Key and Peele, very, very talented, incredibly funny, but obviously a very, very talented filmmaker. First African American director, debuting his first feature to actually crack $100 million. Never been done before. Definitely deserved. It's a fantastic film. If you haven't seen it yet, please make sure to go see it if you enjoy kind of suspense horror films. Honestly, 2017 has been really kind of amped up with suspenseful horror thriller type of movies this year. We got that and Split, both better than they ever should have been, but also just kind of overperforming as well. So it's actually really interesting. I can't wait to see how Saw Legacy basically pans out at the end of this year, because there is enough time there. But if people are kind of clamoring, at least at this point, for horror movies, that's only a good thing. So we're just going to have to wait and see. At the same time, Logan, also an amazing film, incredibly, kind of a love letter to, I guess, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine more than anything else. Opening or having its third weekend with $17 million, has made a cumulative amount of $184 million. I'm sorry. A very good film. If you haven't seen that, please make sure to go see it. This is an incredible performance. It's nowhere near, about almost even $100 million off of where Deadpool was around at the same kind of release schedule, same 3-week period as Logan is at this point. Logan was never going to basically kind of, I guess, amount to as much Deadpool as Deadpool was, but at the same time, it is actually really interesting and really good to see a hard R, I guess even X-Men film, but more so the superhero genre hard R film doing so spectacularly. And just given this, it's going to basically inch its way past. It's obviously going to kind of blow past 200 million, probably inch its way towards 210, 215 by the end of its run, but we're really just gonna have to wait and see. Number 2 this weekend was Kong Skull Island. Very fun, interesting film. Popcorn film. Not necessarily the best type of film you can ever watch, not necessarily award worthy or anything like that, but great popcorn film. Honestly, if this is what these MonsterVerse movies are going to be like, if they can kind of get away from kind of the dull drag without feeling that Godzilla brought to the screen, if they can get away from that and make them fun like this movie, then I'm all aboard for this this extended universe. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. This movie made $27 million this weekend, nearly $28 million. Second weekend kind of slipped 54% from last weekend, $61 million gross. That's actually a really good sign. I want to see more of this. I want to see this actually do very well and succeed. Cumulatively, over 2 weeks, 10 days actually, it's made $109 million. So pretty healthy run. We're going to have to wait and see. It really depends on the direct competition that's opening this week with Power Rangers and then Ghost in the Shell the week after, and then also just kind of playing into the April month, which starts off kind of slow but ends up picking up around summertime. So we're just going to have to wait and see, like I keep saying. And I would say kind of let it at, it probably kind of run out of steam anywhere between 160 to 170 170, 160 million at the end of its run. Still pretty profitable, especially if it does better internationally. If it can get to around the same level that Godzilla made, about anywhere between 480 to 530 million, they would actually like to see it kind of continue. I'm sure they're really excited for what they're going to bring to us in 2019 and 2020. If you stayed at the end of the credits in Kong, if you did watch it, if you haven't, there's a little teaser there that kind of shows and kind of teases what we're going to be seeing in a couple of years now. So definitely an interesting weekend, definitely an interesting month. The only thing I'm concerned with, we've had about 4 weeks in a row. You've had, almost 4 weeks in a row, but even just kind of really good weeks this year. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, 2017 is now tracking ahead of 2016 in terms of box office, week to week or kind of year to year comparisons, making slightly more now, considering the fact that Beauty and the Beast opened as big as it did. Who knows if that's going to actually hold up in terms of the year-to-year comparison. 2016 would have had Batman versus Superman coming out pretty soon here, so they might actually start taking the lead or kind of closing the gap. That 2017 has basically spent all of March just kind of steamrolling that gap and making it to the point where actually now we're ahead. So we're just gonna have to wait and see on that. It's gonna be really interesting to see how this year starts to pan out. I do want to do one of these videos about kind of talking about the movies that we've seen be released this year, kind of, I guess, box office quality wise and all this other stuff, because I do think we're in a very, very interesting year in terms of the releases happening and, you know, the spread out of success instead of the big time successes, especially as compared to 2016, where around this time we were having, like, essentially we had, you know, Deadpool, Zootopia, we were having essentially in a couple of weeks now, we would have in the same time last year, we were having the Jungle Book and then Batman versus Superman. So those are really big films that actually kind of ate up the box office and didn't allow anything else to kind of perform outside of those films. And this has kind of been a little bit more of a spread out year. We've had films that necessarily shouldn't have been, I guess, kind of as big as they were, get big. And we've also had films that should have been bigger, kind of underperform because of how big certain films have actually been. And it's been really interesting to see kind of the disbursement of the money or anything going in. So it's going to be really interesting to see Power Rangers coming out next week. Or this upcoming Friday, and I'm not necessarily sure how that's going to do, or Sony's Life, or at the same time, how Warner Brothers is going to deal with such a very strong month and such, you know, in such kind of upcoming competition from the later weeks in April, competing with Ghost in the Shell. But I will be covering this stuff as I see fit and as I find it interesting. To me, March has been kind of a fantastic month. If you have not been to the theaters, there's probably been very few times in the last month, I would even say in the last year, where we've had so many awesome kind of really fun movies out there. So if you haven't been, I do suggest that you go. Basically just kind of close your eyes and point. I'm sure you'll be able to find anything that you really want to see, or you could be, you know, even remotely happy with. So with that, I'm going to leave it just anyway, with that, I'm just going to leave it anyway, because I'm going to talk to y'all later. Bye.